Here it is, full and complete 1 hour workout. We're going to do all the things. You'll need your small weights and your heavy weights. And we're going to start with a warm up. We're going to start by marching in place. 30 seconds on the clock. Here we go. Try to get those knees high. Getting the arms moving a little bit. I do have small weights in my hand, just so that the arms have something to do. Just trying to get some blood flow. Go ahead and be thinking about your core. Getting it activated, keeping you tall and straight and stable. Lengthening the spine. We're going to take those legs out to the side. You can do this with straight legs, or you can have a little bend in your knees, whatever feels better. We're just trying to get the hips moving. Also doing a little bit of an arm lift there, get the shoulders moving. You can do these fast, you can do them slow. And mule kick. So that's kicking the foot back, bringing the knee back. There's a side view. You want to think about getting a stretch in the front of the hips here. Also getting some tricep action in the arms there just a little bit. We're going to get ready to do some X's and Y's. So you can put your weights down, unless you want to do this with weights in your hand, that's fine too. Making a big X, you're going to bring one hand down to touch the opposite foot. Kind of makes like an upside down Y. Now I'm going to show you real quick here. Form, you want that back to stay straight, legs to stay straight, the hips are coming back. Here we go. So bringing the hips back is what bends your top half forward. We call this hinging at the hips. Just like a door swinging open and closed, your back hinges on the hips. Be thinking about your hamstrings here, glutes. They're getting a little bit of a stretch as you come down, and then they should be what's actually pulling you back up. Here's the front view again, so you can see what it looks like. "20 seconds. "5 seconds, and then we're going to get ready for our cardio. Little cardio move here. I'm picking the weights back up. Going to get the arms, the abs, and the legs involved in this one. Reach that hand down to your opposite foot. Then you're going to do a little skip in the middle and touch the other foot. So here we go. 1 minute. If your back doesn't feel like doing the bend today, you can do the skip without reaching down toward the opposite toe. If you're doing the reach, make sure that you're hinging at the hips, keeping your abs nice and tight. It puts extra load on the glutes and the hamstrings, but you don't want to be bending over through the shoulders with your back. Don't want to round the back. Keep it nice and flat. 20 seconds. Should be feeling a little out of breath here. That's normal. Nice deep breaths. Few more seconds. Don't give up now. Almost there. And rest. Whoo, catch your breath. Stretch it out. Very good. We're going to crush some abs now. All right, we're going to start with frog legs. So lower back pressed into the mat, sticking those feet straight out. Keep your shoulders relaxed, neck relaxed. If that means that you need to let your head rest on the ground, that's okay. Keeping it up does engage the upper abs just a little bit more, but if you've been having some neck issues and need to let it rest, 100% let your head rest on the floor, that's fine. Breathing on this particular move is a little tricky, so you're wanting to exhale about the time your knees get past your hips. Exhale through the hard end of that motion, and then inhale as you start to bring it back in. 20 seconds. Make sure that the angle here where your feet are is such that when your legs are fully extended, your lower back can stay pressed into the mat. You don't want it to be arching or coming off the ground. And we're going to take the legs straight out and hold, and then crunch elbow to opposite knee. This is a slow version of a bicycle crunch. Here you want to exhale as you come up, touch the elbow to the knee, inhale as you come back down. Slow and controlled. Make sure that your lower back is staying pressed into the mat, even with your legs elevated. If that means you need to bring them up a little higher, that's fine. Try to pause at the top when the elbow gets to the knee. Hold that long enough to fully exhale. Empty your breath, and then breathe in as you start to resume the motion. Got about 13 seconds left. All right, keep those legs up in the air. We're going to bring them straight up, all the way up. This should give you enough relief to catch your breath while still keeping your abs engaged. Then we're going to pull those toes back like they're facing our face, flexing the foot, and we're going to reach up and do a toe touch. Pulling your fingertips up towards your toes. If they can actually touch, that's great. If they can't, that's fine. What we want is pulling the abs tight together. Keep the shoulders relaxed. So arms are extended, but you don't want your shoulders doing the work. You want your abs doing 100% of the work here. Make sure that you're exhaling as you come up. Inhale when you come back down. Just like with slow bicycles, try to hold that full crunch until you're out of breath, until the full exhale has happened, and then start to breathe in again as you come back down. Move with your breath. 15 seconds. Five more seconds. Almost there. And rest. Now we're going to stay in this position. We're going to spread our feet to make a V. Pick up those little weights, and then we're going to touch our opposite toe, keeping that V nice and wide. Make sure that you're not just rolling from side to side. You want to come all the way down and then lift with your abs to get up to that opposite toe. Exhaling as you come up, inhaling as you come down. Getting a little arm work in too here. Be mindful of still keeping your shoulders relaxed, keeping your neck as relaxed as it can be. 20 seconds. You just don't want to be pulling primarily with the shoulders or the neck. Almost done. And rest. So you can put your feet down on the ground. We're going to do a crossbody toe touch this time with one foot on the ground. So I'm going to reach my right hand to my left foot. Now if you want a more difficult variation, you can see in the corner, you can keep both legs straight. That is more challenging. Only do that if you can do so without arching or stressing your back. Another variation you can do is instead of using one hand to support you and the other hand to touch, you can keep both hands on your weight and pull yourself up with just your abs. So that doesn't let your other arm give you the little assist there to get all the way up. So use whatever variation feels challenging but doable for you. You've got 20 seconds left. As always, exhale as you come up, inhale as you come back down. And switch. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So extending the other leg. Again, you can do the variations here, so you can keep one leg straight as the other leg comes up and down. Or you can put both hands on the weight. Come all the way up without the support of your other arm. You can even combine those two. You can keep both legs straight and do the toe touch with both hands on the weight. That is really, really difficult though. So if you can do that, awesome. I am not doing that. Got about 15 seconds left. And rest. We're going to be flipping it over to our side. We're going to work the obliques. But I'm going to give you a minute to catch your breath. I definitely needed a few seconds there to catch my breath. I think I also went and got a drink. So sticking one hand up in the air, we're going to do a side boomerang lift. So that's both feet coming up to touch that hand. You can use the arm that's on the ground to support you. I'm even using a weight just to kind of give me some extra balance there. I call this a boomerang because I feel like it makes the shape of a boomerang. You might also see these called oblique jackknives or side jackknives, or even a side V up. 30 seconds. Really focus on that oblique, so the tissue that connects from your left rib to your left hip if you're lying on your right side like I am. 10 seconds. Exhale as you come up, inhale as you come down. That's going to be the pattern for all of these moves. All right, we're going to put the bottom leg down on the floor and keep the motion going. So still hand to foot, but only hand to one foot. Keep that other leg on the ground. Exhale as you come up, inhale as you go back down. If your obliques are hurting too much, burning too much, you can either stop and rest, or rather than push yourself all the way up into that high crunch, you can let your upper body rest on the floor, just do the hand to foot. It still gets the oblique a little bit, just not quite as much, but that could give you a chance to recover in between moves if you need to do that. 20 seconds. My preference is that rather than fully resting, you just step the move down as much as you can to catch your breath, let your heart rate come down a little bit. When you can do that, try to do that rather than like fully stopping. But when you need to fully stop, definitely do that. And we're going to switch to a crunch. So pick up another weight here. Same side, we're just doing a little crunch up. Now you'll notice I have two 5-pound weights. That's a comfortable difficulty for me. It's challenging, but it's not impossible. You can also use one 10-pound weight instead of the two 5s. That's fine. More weight is going to make it a little easier. So if just 10 pounds you feel like it's still a struggle to get up, try switching to a 15-pound or maybe 2/8. That extra weight on the end kind of helps pull you up. If you want it to be a little more challenging, you could take it down to one 8-pound weight, or even one 5-pound weight if you're feeling really brave. 20 seconds. Five seconds. Almost there. And rest. We're going to bring our knees into our chest. This is the last move on this side, and then we'll flip it over. So sitting up, bringing the knees in toward the chest or toward the elbow. So here I'm just supporting myself on my arm. You can see a variation where you do a bicep curl with that supporting arm at the same time. I feel like it's a little easier that way because then your arm is occupied. It gives you some resistance that helps pull you up. So try it. If you like it, that's fine. Or you can just keep your hand on the ground. That's okay too. Remember to keep thinking about that oblique. It's probably burning pretty good now, so I know you know where it is. So think about it as you pull your knees in. 18 seconds. Almost done with this side. Single digits. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rest. Very good. Except I do a couple extra, but you don't have to do that. We're going to flip it over. Catch your breath. And then we're going to flip it over to the other side. We're going to do all 4 of those moves on the other side. So we're going to start off with the boomerang again. Bring the hand up to both of those feet. Exhale as you come up. "30 seconds. I feel like the second side is always harder because everything's already a little bit tired. 20 seconds. Make sure that you're really aware of your breathing. That's going to help you get through this, even though those abs are already sore. Exhale as you come up, inhale as you come down. Keep that pattern going as we move through the different moves. And we're going to switch to just the one leg. So this is just the oblique hand to foot. "20 seconds. It's always okay to have a weight nearby on the floor that you can just kind of hold on to for stability. And rest. We're going to pick up the other small weight and do our crunch on the right side. So be really aware here of trying to pull just with the obliques. Try to keep your shoulders relaxed. Try to keep your neck from doing the work. It is holding your head up, but you don't want the neck to be the first thing that's moving as you try to do this crunch. Try to keep it neutral. Remember to exhale as you come up, inhale as you come back down. These little crunches don't have to be fast. They can be slow. Try to move with your breathing. 20 seconds. We are almost done with these abs, y'all. So close to being done. We have one more move left to do on this side. And rest. So we're gonna sit up, bring our knees into our chest. You can support yourself on your left arm, or you can add in the bicep curl. Think of this like a sit-up, just you're trying to do a sit-up only with your oblique. There's a variation with the curl if you're interested. This is a great opportunity to talk about how to deal with soreness. If you feel like you're going to be really sore after a workout, couple natural things that can make a huge difference. Arnica, which is a gel that you can apply to a specific muscle. If you have a muscle that is sore, then you can apply arnica. You can get it on Amazon. And Epsom salt soaks. Oh, they are life-changing. And rest. That is all of abs, except I'm still being a little overzealous there. I'll give you a minute to reposition. We're going to do some cardio and a plank. Cardio, we're going to do jumping jacks. Here we go. Now I show a low impact variation where you can just do a side to side steps and swing your arms if you need some low impact today. "20 seconds. I feel like jumping jacks don't always seem so bad unless you're already tired. If you've already done a lot and then you try to do jumping jacks, then you really feel the whole minute of them. 5 seconds. And rest. All right, so that will put us into a plank. We're going to do a forearm plank for 1 minute. Now, the rule that I have for forearm planks, other than neutral spine, parallel to the ground, and all that jazz, is your hands should be elbow width apart. So if you're doing a wide forearm plank and you have a lot of space between your elbows, that's fine. That means you also have a lot of space between your hands. If you pull your elbows into directly underneath your shoulders, that's fine, but then your hands should still be shoulder width apart. If you're holding hands, you're cheating. If you ever want more ab in your forearm plank, you can try shifting back so that the elbows are further forward. You can also make sure that you're tucking your tailbone under, shortening the abs, lengthening the spine. 5 seconds. And rest. Come down slow, come down to your knees. You never want to just fall out of a plank. It's a good way to hurt yourself. And stretch it out for a second. I do a little child's pose here. You can even pause and do some stretches in between. We're going to get ready to do some arms. And for arms, we're going to do them on the floor. So this is arms on the floor. I've got a 10-pound weight in each hand. You can substitute 8s if you need to, or if you want to make it more challenging, 15s. We're going to take those arms straight up in the air. And we're going to do dragonflies. Now, this is a variation on butterflies where the legs also move. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. You can keep your feet on the ground, just do the arm move and do butterflies. I'm doing dragonflies today, also moving the legs. This just helps keep the core tight, gives the legs something to do while the arms are working, all about the full body stuff. Time works a little bit differently with arms because we have holds, switching between things, pausing and resuming. So just be aware that the clock will still be there most of the time. All right, we're going to hold. So take those weights out and hold. Keep your arms straight. A few more seconds. And resume. Get a couple more little butterflies or dragonflies in. Now we're going to switch to a floor press. So that's just bringing the elbows out to the side. Imagine a bench press, except you're doing it on the floor. I am adding what looks like a variation on frog legs here. Some light frog legs to keep the abs working, give the legs something to do, but you don't have to do that. Again, you can keep your feet on the ground and still get the arm workout in. That is no problem. Fun fact, all of these abs on the floor can also be done on an exercise ball. Of course, obviously, then you're not going to be doing the leg stuff, but that does give your legs and core something to do, namely keep you from falling off of the ball. Arms on the ball are great. Highly recommend it. And we're going to switch. We're going to bring those weights together and then take them down to our chest, push them back up. Keep them together, bring them down nice and low, and hold. Down to your chest, just barely off your chest, and hold. And resume. This move is especially effective if you do it very slowly. It's also like the very easiest level 1 push-up. It works a lot of the same muscles, but you're only working against gravity and 20 pounds instead of your body weight. Take it down and hold. I'll have to do a whole other video for push-ups though. And resume. Alright, we're gonna make a bridge and take those weights back behind our head. Make sure that your shoulder blades are flat on the floor. You don't want your neck to be bent here. So shoulders flat on the floor, keeping your abs tight, so the lower abs, pelvic floor, tucking your tail under. This is working the glutes and the hamstrings while getting the arm move. So your arms here should be straight, taking that weight, those weights as far back as you can, close to the floor if you can, and then bringing it back up. We're going to take it down and hold. Keep it going. And pick it back up and down, up and down. Five seconds. And rest. We're going to stand it up now so you can put those weights down, stand it up. We're going to start with one arm. We're going to do a hammer curl. So you want to hold it like a hammer. Imagine it's a hammer. Be the hammer. Keep that elbow anchored to your side and swing that hammer of a weight very slowly right up close to your chest. This is one of my favorite arm moves. It does get the bicep, it gets a little bit of the forearm, but it really targets the brachialis, which is a little bitty muscle that sits underneath the bicep. It makes your bicep work more effective because it actually lifts that muscle. So you get more bang for your buck by working this little bitty muscle with a hammer curl. 20 seconds. And rest. We're going to switch, same thing, just the other arm. So the difficulty with this move, where you're going to lose some efficiency, is if your elbow is moving around a lot, if it's wobbly, if it's not super attached to your side. In general, that's the biggest problem with this move. $20. And rest, we are going to finish up arms with eagle wings. So you're going to pretend you're an eagle, soft knees, hinge a little bit forward on the hips, and then flap those beautiful wings. So this is rotation of the shoulder, squeezing the shoulder blades together as you come up. If you've done a pencil squeeze, that's what it should feel like. Also lifting with the forearms. This gets all the things from the top of the deltoid down to your wrist. $20. And rest. All right, we are in the home stretch. This is the last part of workout. We're going to do our last cardio, plank, and then get into legs. For our cardio, we're going to do frog punches. So you're going to want to come down into a hand plank position. You can use some little weights for your hands if you need the wrist support. With your feet together, then you're going to hop forward into a squat, come up, punch, punch with your both arms. So back, squat, punch, punch. Here we go, minute on the clock. Make sure that you're keeping a neutral spine even through the jumping. That takes a lot of control in the core, a lot of power from the hip flexors. Try to stay low in your squat when you come up to punch as much as you can. I know this one wears out the legs really fast. So just do your best. Don't forget to breathe. $20. Try to keep those squats low, keep your abs tight. 5 seconds. And rest. Good job. Those are tough. So be proud of yourself for doing however much of that you got through. We're going to transition now to a hand plank for our plank, following the cardio. So starting on your hands and knees, one leg straight back, other leg to match. I'm giving you a few seconds here to get into position, adjust as you need to, and there's a minute on the clock. Remember to maintain that neutral spine, so your legs should be coming down at an angle and your back should be approximately parallel to the floor. Modification here, if you're struggling with the hand plank, would be to come down to your knees, and you can do a hand plank to your knees as opposed to your toes. If you're having wrist, shoulder, elbow problems and this is uncomfortable, you could also come down and just do another forearm plank. $20. Use these planks as an opportunity to catch your breath after cardio, because we're going to be hitting those legs hard here in 3 seconds. And rest. So come down gently out of that. Always come down to your knees after a plank. Pick up some heavy weights. I've got 10s. We're going to start with a lunge. The weights kind of help with stability and balance, and on some of these moves they make them more challenging. So you're going to step your right leg forward. I'm starting with my right leg. Position yourself, think railroad tracks, not tightrope, so a little bit of space between your feet. Bent front leg, bent back leg, up on your toes, on your back leg, which in this case is the left. And we're just holding. Make sure that your pelvis is square so that your hips are both facing forward, not slanty, and make sure that your shoulders are in line with your hips. Stand up tall, don't lean forward, stay nice and tall in these lunges. And now we're going to take it up and down. Just a little bit of a bounce. You can make this a fast high bounce or a slow deep bounce. They are both effective in different ways. You do want to make sure that you're keeping your weight forward. Your front leg should be doing this work. So that front quad, if you have your right leg forward, that right quad should be doing the bulk of the work here, and your back leg is mostly just spring and stability. And now we're going to hold for 15 more seconds. The hold is always harder after the bounce, so just breathe through it. 5 seconds. And rest, stand up, shake it out, get some blood back into those legs. We're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. So stepping forward now, the left leg. Give you a second to get in position. Bent front leg, bent back leg. A little bit of horizontal space between your feet so you're like railroad tracks. Make sure you're nice and tall, long spine, not leaning forward, shoulders low. Square your hips, square your shoulders, everything nice and aligned. And we're going to take it up and down. Try to do this side the same way that you did the other side. If you did the other side high and fast, do this side that way. If you did the other side slow and deep, then do this side that way. Just want it to be even. Again, that front leg, that front quad should be doing the bulk of the work here, and your back leg is spring and stability. And hold. We're going to hold for 15 more seconds. Breathe through it. Try to stay tall. And rest. Very good. Shake that out. We are not done with lunges and we're not done with the weights, but take a couple seconds. Get some deep breaths in. We're going to do step out lunges next. So you're going to step forward with one leg. Have that knee come almost down to the mat and then back, and then the other leg come forward and then return. So come forward with your heel, and when you're ready to come back up, push off the ground with your heel. Now your leg that's staying back, that knee doesn't have to touch. If it does touch, you just want to make sure that you don't rest on that knee. It can come down and kind of, we say, kiss the mat, but you don't want your weight to be over that. Like, you want your weight to be really on the front leg as you push back with that heel. "20 seconds. This is one where having the added weight in your hands makes it a little more challenging, but if you swing those weights, you can swing them and get some momentum. That can actually make it a little bit easier, whereas holding them dead by your side like I am here makes it a little more challenging. And rest. All right, shake that out. Get ready to do the same thing, but now stepping backwards. So we're going to bring a knee back and down, like kneeling, and then step back up, and then the other leg back and down, stand back up. This is a very similar motion. It does make it a little easier to keep your weight forward, I think, when you're stepping back as opposed to stepping forward. But sometimes with particular knee problems, stepping forward may hurt, whereas stepping back does not, and vice versa. So just be aware of that if you're ever trying to get some lunge work in, but you have some knee stuff going on. If one direction doesn't feel good, don't push it, but you could try the other direction and that might feel okay. 20 seconds. And rest. Good work. Nice job getting through those lunges. We're going to lie down on the floor now. Lie on your left side so you're on top of your left elbow. You should be straight. Your hip and your knee and your ankle, everything should be nice in a straight line. Nice and tall in that shoulder, pushing down into the floor with your elbow. You should feel that top oblique activated. Holding you steady, point that bottom toe, bring your top leg in front. You want your foot about where your knee is. We're taking that bottom leg up and down, keeping that toe pointed. This is going to work the inner thigh. It takes a little concentration to make sure that you're staying tall on that shoulder. The inclination is to want to shrug. So really think about pushing down into the floor with your elbow, keeping that top oblique tight so that you're nice and straight and pretty, and that leg pointed. It's a lot to think about to maintain really good form in some of these exercises, but it is worth it to do them correctly and get the most out of them. Got 15 seconds left. Almost there. And rest. Very good. Nice deep breath. We're going to flip it over. We're going to do the exact same thing just on the other side so you can swing your legs around. Take your time getting over there. I know you're tired. This is a long workout. Laying on the right side, really tall on that right shoulder, everything nice and straight. Bring that top leg in front to about where your knee is. Point that bottom toe. Feel your oblique. And here we go. Up and down. Lifting that leg. Part of what we're doing here with all of this thinking about where we are in space and what our body is doing is really posture training. So staying nice and tall on your shoulders, keeping your spine straight, using your core to stabilize, all of those things are part of training your body to maintain its posture, and they can be beneficial even outside of workout. And keep that toe pointed. It really does make the move more effective. 10 seconds. And rest. Whoo, very good. Believe it or not, that is it for legs, and we're just going to do our cool down. So this is a set of things that we do every time at the end of workout in my class, and now you get to do it in the video. We're going to start with good mornings and good nights, but we're going to talk about form first. Form on these is really, really, really important. So you want your weight to be over your heels and your legs to be straight. Your hips are going to move backward. This is a hinging motion, so your legs just kind of shift. Your back should stay straight, and then when you're coming up, the hips go forward and you stand back up. So if you hear people talk about hinging at the hips, yep, keeping your chin up can help. Hinging at the hips, this is what they're talking about. So the hips go back, your face comes forward, and then the hips come forward, your face goes up. So this is the form that we want to use. Keeping your weight on your heels will help, so your toes should be really light. You should be able to wiggle your toes while you do this. If you're using weights, you can bring those weights up and then stand up, pushing the hips forward. Hips go back, face comes forward, weights go down. We're going to start minute on the clock, but do this at the level that works for you. If hinging at the hips, if this technique is new, I would recommend just doing the hinge without weights. Do that until it feels pretty natural. Do it with a mirror so you can make sure your back is staying straight. That halfway hinge we call a tabletop position. Someone should be able to eat a meal on top of your back when your hips are back and you're hinged forward. And then the good mornings that we do these deadlifts just pull you down a little bit further and then gives you some weight to maneuver as you're lifting back up. But it's all about the movement in the hips. You should also be feeling a hamstring stretch as you do these through the back of your legs, maybe even your calves, depending on how tight they are. And we're going to switch now. So those are good mornings with the weights on the inside. We're going to do good nights with the weights on the outside. It's the same motion, just your feet are a little closer together. The weights are now on the outside. But notice the shape doesn't change. The hips go back, you come forward, you come up as the hips come forward. And this really is the best way to bend. Most of the time, if you drop a pencil and you need to pick it up off the floor, this is really a great way to do that, to hinge at the hips, bend forward. It lets you do things on the floor safely. This is how you pull weeds and work in the garden and a lot of those kinds of things without hurting your back, is hinging so that really the glutes and the hamstrings and the core are doing the work, and then the muscles of the back are only providing stability, which is what they're designed for. The lower back is not supposed to be doing all of the heavy lifting. It's supposed to be stabilizing you. And rest. So those are great moves to do every single day. We're going to finish it up now with 2 more minutes of abs. We're going to start with stranded cockroaches because it kind of looks like a cockroach stuck on his back flailing. You want to make sure your abs are engaged, lower back pressed into the mat, and then we're going to bring hand up to opposite foot. There are modifications for this. I'm going to put a whole separate video about modifications and progressions for these last 2 moves. But if you need to keep your feet on the floor, if you need to keep your legs bent so that your back doesn't arch and come off the mat, that is perfectly fine. If you need to do this without weights, that's fine. Modify and adjust so that your abs can engage and your back can stay pressed into the floor. And as long as you're doing that, you'll be safely building abdominal strength. 20 seconds. Five seconds, get ready for X's and O's. So holding that X, then we're going to bring it in, sit up into an O, back down into the X. Again, there are modifications. I have a video already out that talks about X's and O's in particular. You can keep your back on the floor, just bring your knees and elbows in is an acceptable modification. If you're coming all the way up, just make sure that you're keeping your back straight, shoulders relaxed. You don't want your shoulders and upper body to be pulling you into this shape. You want it to come from your lower abs and then the center of your abs pulling you up into the O. 20 seconds. Another good thing to think about here is not using momentum. You should be able to pause at the top, pause at the bottom. You should be fully in control the whole time. 5 seconds. And rest. Excellent. Great job. So that is the workout. Now we always do stretches at the end of a workout, so I'm going to walk you through some common stretches that can help with the things we just did. So we're going to start with the hips, cross one ankle over the knee, and then pull to the side, and think about your breathing. So the trick with stretches is not to pull the stretch, push the stretch, but breathe into the stretch. Nice big deep breaths in through your nose, out through your nose. If you want a deeper stretch, you can straighten that top leg, pull it across, let your hand rest on it. So you shouldn't be yanking on the leg, but you can hold it in place. And that gets a deeper twist. Nice deep breaths. All right, gently swing that leg back around. Come back to center. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Cross that other ankle over. Let the weight of your ankle and your foot and your leg accomplish the stretch, and then breathe into it. Try to make sure that you're fully relaxing your hips and your back, keeping both shoulders on the floor, both palms on the floor. Nice deep breaths. If you did on the other side, you can straighten that leg and then let your hand rest on it just to kind of give it some stability. You can keep it straight or bend that knee again, depending on whether you're trying to get more of a twist or more of a stretch in the hip and the glute. And bring it back to center. We're going to do a figure 4 stretch, so crossing one ankle over again. This time we're going to interlace our fingers behind the other thigh. And again, don't pull it too much, just secure your hands and then relax. Breathe into the stretch. Try to make your hips completely disengage and just sink into the stretch. For some added intensity, if you want an even deeper stretch, you can grab onto that ankle and then walk your hand down your opposite shin. So your legs are kind of in a knot. But again, just secure your legs in place and then fully relax and breathe into the stretch. And release. Untangle everything, cross the other ankle over, lace your fingers behind the other thigh, and hold the figure 4. Make sure your shoulders are relaxing, your upper back is relaxing, your hips are relaxing, and your deep breaths will help you accomplish the relaxation. The long, slow exhales that we talk about trigger the vagus nerve, which tells the brain, oh, it's time to relax. I need to let everything go. And if you did on the other side, you could go ahead and grab the ankle, walk your hand down the opposite shin. So deep breathing is your friend. And release. Untangle your legs. Take your time. We're going to sit up and then flip it over for a runner's lunge. So bringing one knee up, taking the other leg back. This is not an active lunge where we're trying to work the muscles. This is supposed to be a stretch. So I have my left leg forward, my right knee on the ground, and again, don't push into it, but relax into the stretch of the left inner thigh and the right front hip flexor. You can maintain a tall spine and keep your head up, or you can relax and let your head hang heavy. You can also move around in this stretch a little bit. Do whatever feels comfortable. And then we're going to switch. Do a little reset child's pose. Bring the other knee up. And whatever position you took on the other side, do that here. Breathe into the stretch, relax into it. Trust that between your arms and your leg that's up, you're not going to fall over. You can relax. We're going to bring that leg back, toes together, knees as wide as is comfortable. We're going to come down into a child's pose. If your forehead can reach the mat here comfortably, that's great. If not, feel free to stack your hands or even stack your fists. Adjust as needed. Sometimes it can take a couple tries to find the most comfortable version of this stretch. And then relax. Relax your lower back, relax your shoulders and your neck and your face, and be really proud of yourself for doing a full workout today on top of whatever else is going on in your life. Taking care of your body, taking care of your brain, because workout is good for the brain too. If you want a shoulder stretch, you can thread one arm through, and that can really help if you've got a lot of tension in the shoulder and the deltoid, or in the rhomboid, which is between the shoulder blade and the spine. Sometimes that can get really, really tight, especially if you do a lot of typing kind of stuff, computer work. Can bring that arm back. If you did one arm, then you should do the other arm now. And if you're ready to come up, go ahead and do that, or you can stay in that child's pose as long as you like. When you're ready to come up, just take your time, come up slowly. If you want to come up and just hang for a minute in a forward fold, that's okay. You can cross your arms and get to stretch in the back of the legs. And then whenever you're ready, you can slowly roll up one little vertebra at a time and be ready for whatever else you have to do today. Very good. Well done. Thanks for watching.